Ever since I got my first Vectrex, I've been bothered by the constant shaking of the vectors. This is very noticeable on the corners of the screen, often where scores and lives are shown or when an enemy just happens to be in that area. It drove me crazy at first, but I eventually got used to it. I no longer thought about the shaky vectors. I was in a good place. That was until a legendary developer that goes by Malbon posted some information about it. In short, when running on 50 Hz power you will have a more stable image than when running on 60 Hz power. After a few weeks of thinking about affordable ways to achieve 50 Hz, I ended up finding a UPS in the trash can at someone else's work. This UPS happened to have a 50-60 Hz input and a 50-60 Hz output. This means it can be switched to 50 Hz based on the input frequency. I would like to mention that it is extremely hard to capture footage of the Vectrex. If you can't notice a difference in the video, you will have to take my word for it that the results of this give you a very stable image. And now for some bad news. I don't know what the transformer in a North American Vectrex is rated for. It is hard to find information on it. Running it at 50 Hz may damage it or reduce its life. Lowering the voltage may help, but there are no guarantees here. This is going to sound ridiculous, but in order for me to switch the UPS to 50 Hz mode, I ended up using the inverter for my car. I already know what you're thinking. Why didn't I just use the inverter to power the Vectrex? Because it is for my Castle, and the output is not very clean on these. This is the UPS I found in the trash can. It did not have a battery in it. This is a good thing for me as I plan on hooking up a 12-volt DC power supply to the battery terminals anyway. As you can see, the specifications here show that it can be used in 50 Hz mode while on battery. The inverter has a potentiometer to adjust the voltage and frequency output. I brought it down to 50 Hz, then plugged the UPS into it in order to switch it to 50 Hz mode. With the UPS now set for 50 Hz, I can now remove it from the inverter and connect the battery terminals to a 12-volt DC source. Although not a perfect sine wave, I now have a stable 120-volt AC 50 Hz signal. At this point, I will not connect it to AC power again unless it defaults back to 60 Hz. For a comparison, here is the test cart running first at 60 Hz, then at 50 Hz. Hz, 50 Hz, 60 Hz, 50 Hz. You'll see in the next two comparisons that there is a slower wave on 50 Hz when the Vectrex can't draw fast enough to stay at a 50 Hz cycle. This happens when there are too many lines on the screen. Since the vectors constantly shake for those of us running on 60 Hz, there is not a large visual difference between the Vectrex struggling to draw too many lines or drawing a few lines. I hope you enjoyed the video. If I can record some better footage of the Vectrex, I will post another comparison video.